Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Cradily. Cradily has some great tank stats. I honestly feel that it's a bit underrated, because 86 on the hit points, while not being the most incredible tank stats, really works out on Cradily because you have 97 defense and 107 special defense. This Pokemon is going to sponge damage incredibly well, and it has some decent offensive potential from there. That also, when we look at its typing, Grass Rock. Could be better. You do have 4 weaknesses, so that is something you have to worry about. Fighting Bug, Steel, and Ice. Some of those are pretty common, like Steel and Ice, and they can still be very rough. Also, you only have resistances to Normal and Electric, which is kind of hard because you can't really use Cradily to switch in and absorb hits and then set up. You're going to have to bring it in as a revenge Pokemon or something like that. Just plant its roots, maybe even use it as a lead, and then try to have it run away with the battle from there. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, I'm going to make a really quick note of Armaldo and Claydol. Claydol and Armaldo, I already reviewed them like within the last 3 or 4 months, so I don't want to make another video again. Not much has changed about the strategies, it's effectively going to be the same. So if you need these strategies and you were anticipating them, I've already done the video, you'll find the links in the description, and I'm adding them to the how to use playlist. So with that out of the way, we're just going to hop over to Cradily. That gets Stockpile. I know for some reason you guys facepalm whenever you see Stockpile. It is one of the strongest moves in the game because it boosts both defenses, and when put on a tanky Pokemon like Cradily, it lets you set up hard. Sure, it makes you a taunt bait, but not every team has taunt. Not every Pokemon is going to have the option. If you actually play it properly, you remove the taunt Pokemon, then Cradily is free to set up, or whatever Pokemon that you're using to set up is going to have a field day. And also, looking at Cradyly's stats, we're going to get some incredible boost off Stockpile, and it also gets Suction Cups. Pokemon cannot be forced to switch out, so things like Roar and Whirlwind, that's a wasted turn, and that's going to be free setup if they try to move you out through that direction, and it's still pretty solid. Also, Cradily gets Recover, so you don't have to do any Chesto Resto Stockpile shenanigans. It has its own built-in sustain. That I like running it with Citrus Berry because you get that burst health. Use Stockpile, fall below half, Citrus Berry pushes you around like 60 to 75% or something like that. Then you just Stockpile again, start recovering, and then you can set up. Infestation Toxic is a scary combo. Traps the opponent for 4 to 5 turns, and then you Toxic them. They can't switch out, and they just get burned down, and eventually they become nothing, and they get KO'd in, I think, 4 turns from just the damage over time on this. Cradily starts taking almost no damage with Stockpile boost. Now you can run it, kind of mixed, that you can go for either a more defensive or just whatever you feel that your team needs or whatever threatens you the most. That you can go for that higher defense while just making sure you have that special defense nature. With this, you're actually going to want to run Calm because Infestation is technically a special move, so you'll get a couple more points of damage on that. But Careful won't punish you too much, honestly. So with this, you're going to try to use that 107 special defense, get the most with the Calm nature, max out the defense, and you're good to go from there. Looking at some other things, you can run Barrier as well. That Barrier is going to make you more weak physically, but if you set up against a special Pokemon, like, you bring Cradily in, use Barrier once, and then you can just recover out any of their special damage, as long as they're not hitting you with Ice-type attacks or Bug-type attacks, you're going to be doing really well, and it can be a more interesting setup. That with Barrier, you're not capped. That Stockpile caps you at 3 uses. Barrier, you can use it twice. You're already higher in defenses than Stockpile, but your special defense doesn't want to go up anymore. So it's kind of playing to the physical-oriented meta, that if you know there's going to be more physical Pokemon on the opponent's team, you can just kind of wall out the special how you can, and then just use Barrier to really set up hard. From there, Cradily also has Swords Dance option and Rock Slide. Swords Dance and the Rock Slide is going to have Stab, going to have a lot of damage, and this is why you're going to run the Careful nature. So you can do the same thing with Stockpile here, you can do the same thing with Barrier here, and it's just going to be your personal preference, but some are faster than others. Barrier is really going to amp up that defense, Stockpile is going to make you good at both, and it's just interesting the way the defenses and stat boosts work. That after 2 stages of stat boost, you're effectively doubling that stat. So Barrier is going to double on the first turn, and Stockpile is going to give you 250% boost. But then the next time you use Barrier, it's only going to be 1.5 times more effective. So it's tripling your defenses on the second use, as opposed to doubling your defenses on the second use of Stockpile. So it does scale down, like the more that you use it, the less effective it becomes. Which is why, sometimes 3 Stockpiles is enough, but other times getting 2 Barriers in 2 turns is more than enough and really helps you secure that KO. Other things Cradily can do that might be surprising is that it has Storm Drain, that it draws in water attacks, has water immunity, and a lot of people will use this to its advantage. That if we pull up a Cradily, they're on Storm Drain, people like giving it Giga Drain. That you can have a really impactful tank now. You put it on a rain team, you put it with a Pokemon that doesn't like eating water type, like a Pokemon weak to water type moves, and Storm Drain is going to soak up any single target moves like Scald, not moves like Surf, or if you're using it with a Surf Pokemon, Cradily hits the Surf, gets that boost to its special attack, and then it's just going to be really solid from there. You're going to also want to run tanky EVs still, but this time we're going to have to want that Calm Nature. That way we're not taking away from any of our special attack. You hit 2 turns worth of Storm Drain, so like you absorb 2 water moves, and you're going to have almost 400 special attack, throwing out Giga Drain for Sustain. You also have Recovery, you also have Toxic, so you are providing a lot of disruption as well, while just being a Cradily that supports a water-type Pokemon or supports a Pokemon weak against water, and it can work out really well. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that's how you use Cradily, and Armaldo and Claydol, kind of.